未来洗联储还 HDO 洗币会别人抢着来成为国家流通的货币。接下来被国家认可、主权认可、主权流通，甚至大的这沼泽地控制的金融集团流通，它是一定会发生的。
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to episode 70 of Crypto News Talk. Today we have a very, very important breaking news. Singapore Central Bank starts tokenization pilots. Now, if you don't know what the role that Singapore plays, we are going to tell you. Now, first of all, let's have a look at who we have on the program. My name is Bindi, and I have my co-hosts. Please introduce yourselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chu007. Welcome to our program.
Thanks. Yeah, this is Jesse. Good day from Australia, and good to have you guys with us.
Now we have a very tiny country called Singapore. Singapore is often the bellwether of many things, especially in the financial sector. Now let's have a look at the next slide. Monetary Authority of Singapore. Who is MAS? MAS is Central Bank and Financial Regulator. Established in 1971, it's the banking and financial agent of Government of Singapore. Next slide, we have JP Morgan. JP Morgan, without further introduction, it is of course the world's largest bank by market capitalization. It has the widest range of businesses and customers base across the globe. Now next, we have DBS Bank. I was once told that every Tom, Dick, and Harry in Singapore has a bank account in DBS. DBS is Singapore's multinational banking and financial service company headquartered in Marina Bay. If every Tom, Dick, and Harry has an account there, what can you do if it fails? Now, next one is Bank of New York Mellon. New York Mellon is American Investment Banking Services Holding Company headquartered in New York. What do all these banks have in common? Let's have a look at next one there. Project Guardian. Project Guardian aims to test the feasibility of asset tokenization and DeFi while mitigating financial stability and integration risk. Now, it seeks to integrate the digital assets into mainstream finance. So when you see tokenization project, it means something big is coming very, very soon. And Singapore is going to be the test case. Tokenization, next slide, is about minting real world asset as blockchain-based tokens. Maltzko has said this many, many times. Many of us, including myself, didn't have very much understanding, but hopefully after today's program, we'll have a much clearer idea of what tokenization means. Next one is Layer 1 blockchain. Now, the foundational blockchain on which secondary networks and applications are constructed, it is Layer 1 blockchain. You have Bitcoin and Ethereum, the two largest L1 blockchains globally. We are going to launch straight into the first question about Singapore Central Bank starting testing tokenization. This is a huge thing, and we are going to ask our Singapore expert, Jesse, about his thoughts on this.
I'm not an expert. I'm only expert in the food, in the street food of Singapore. Now, the 007 is the expert, yeah. Now, so has a new medium of exchange been anointed with this announcement? And what's in it for Singapore, actually? So I've been scratching my head. So what's in it for Singapore? And we did a little bit of digging, and it could very well elevate Singapore's position, right, in what we call fund doxamol, actually. You know, they can become globally competitive, actually, you know. So since Singapore cannot mine, they will think of selling spades to the miner. And why don't we just don't sell spade to the miner wind farm? Why not we create an infrastructure for the whole ecosystem? I think that's what they are looking at. Yeah. So when the statement says, oh, their central bank is starting to test, right, tokenization, Singapore, they don't work that way. The bureaucracy doesn't work there. They don't announce and and say we are starting to test, meaning they have already tested and it is it can be launched, and therefore they come out to say. Now, what's the significance of these use cases? Like you say, bear with me a little bit. Who are the heavyweights? We have a lot of heavyweights here, isn't it? So the heavyweights like JPM and etc. We'll talk about who is involved. But really, we are looking at what's the cost, what's the opportunity cost of those who's not jumping on the bandwagon. There's FOMO involved, there's TINA involved, meaning there's no other alternative, right? And you therefore, it behooves us to see who is involved. Now, number one, JPM and Apollo Global, right? They're part of this project. Now, they are tokenizing funds, including alternatives. And we know that alternative, it goes beyond stock, bonds, and cash, meaning your real estate, commodities, even your cryptocurrencies. Now, this is huge because this portfolio space for the wealthy clients are worth about $5.5 trillion. So it's not something to be sniffed, to scoff at, actually. So it's a stroke of genius because then what used to be illiquid, right, and there's a lack of secondary trading market. With this tokenization, they have solved that. They can automate and transform the asset management sector by tokenizing assets in the portfolio. Now, hang on, then we have DBS and, like you say, Mellon, right? BNY Mellon. Now, remember, BNY Mellon is the custodian they are the custodian for the reserve for USDC stable coins. So interesting. And I was told that MUFG, which is Mitsubishi, right? Mitsubishi Financial Group. And they are one of the world's largest financial group, and AUM is about 2.9 trillion US dollars. Again, nothing to be scoffed at. Interesting, right? So these are the big boys, Fidelity, and there's one T. Rowe Price. Whoa, T. Rowe Price is really encompassing. It's a global investment management company, and there even been made a comparison between T. Rowe versus Vanguard. And then we have Franklin Templeton actually, who coincidentally already manages the largest tokenized traditional asset fund worth about 300 million, which is nothing, but it's on the public blockchain. So this is where you can see all the players involved, right? They are not any Tom, Dick, Harry, like we say. They are significant, and later we will be touching on the other really significant bit of this whole news, which is the global layer one actually. And like I say, whoever controls the rail track, controls the railway system. You can have the train without the railway tracks, then you can go nowhere. I think this is what they are trying to do. Thanks.
2007.
Well, the tokenization words, okay, start testing tokenization or already been tested. So we make announcement and we announce to the world, okay, it's tokenization, like a revolutionization. So something has been changed, okay? What has been changed is you look at the major financial institution involved, the Singapore's banks, okay, the DBS, and then New York Mellon banks, that's in New York, that's in Singapore, and then JP okay, one of the largest banks in the world, in the United States, okay? So if you combine this asset together with Japan, okay, Japan's Mitsubishi, the Mitsubishi, and also the Japanese financial regulatory body. So Western economy, United States, Japan, and then Singapore. Singapore is related to what? Related to Singapore. A lot of CCP's money, okay, are not going to United States or Europe, are now in Singapore, especially since the COVID lockdown. The majority of the money flowing to Singapore and melted and deposited in the Singapore banking system. And that money has to be, okay, from gray area into assume you do a KYC approved legitimate funds into this whole new economy called tokenization. So aggregate in the tokenization, that's the scale of it. So that scale is huge, okay? Of course, all the asset has to be transformed from small to large. So once the process is started, what happened is that sorry, my dog. Okay, so what happened is the process in the crypto virtual asset, we have about over $1.2 trillion, which Bitcoin occupy 55% of it. Ethereum is about 15% of it. The rest of them are relatively small fish. Okay, once that process is started, what we're seeing is as Jesse also mentioned now, that derivatives, shares, indexes, funds, and also properties can be all tokenized into that platform. And why people need to be tokenized? I mean, this is a trend of the world. Technology driven. Remember, driven our productivity, driven the future of our culture. So the usability and the get used to use the digital currency, okay, and in a common platform is what we expected. Also, from old financial regulatory bodies, that has to be all KYC. It has to be legitimized, in other words. So in that way, SEC can still maybe, doesn't call the SEC, some similar body can still regulate. I think Michael mentioned that it's the world regulation community which agrees about how this whole tokenization process should be and the rule of law and all that should be there. So most people are not expecting that, but some speculating has been happening over the couple of years about it. But now we can see the real step is there, leading by major financial institutions, link the world economy, east, west, north, south, all together. It makes it technically easy doing and possible, and also make you have freedom of into this DeFi and token business, but you also can sell out, get out as well. So both ways it's transparent. So the Rendu channels are linked together. The yin and yang are all balanced and harmonized. So it's gonna be big, huge. We've never seen. Back to you, Bindi.
Okay, now we're going on to question 2 about Singapore exploring the design of global layer 1. What is such a big deal with being layer 1, Jesse?
Yes, this is a big, like you say, it's a very big deal, because one, beyond the smart contract, it must support the high transaction value, right? And that is why the significance of being perfectly liquid, which is frictionless, and in the interoperability between the institutions and the key players. Therefore, then it increased the velocity. But when we talk about the global layer 1, now, Project Guardian, which we have to talk about the global liquidity pool, right? Because it allows cross-border transaction, number one, tokenization assets to be traded across global liquidity pool. Now, how important is a global liquidity pool? Beyond that, but before we dive into that, this Project Guardian, which we spoke about, to me, they should call it Project Power, because it's the power to mint. They have literally consolidated the power to mint. And we know that you have the liquidity pool. It is a cornerstone of what 007 just pointed out about DeFi, because it has to provide a source of liquidity for users to exchange and interact between the protocols with various digital assets, isn't it? Because if you cannot exchange or there's no liquidity, you're stuck with that tokens that it has value, but it hasn't got interest. It hasn't got that liquidity to exchange to fiat or whatever. That's why it's important, because when the liquidity pool dries up, right? That's why they try to stop the inflow and outflow within the HDO system. There's a reason they do that, because without that, between the trading pair, there's not enough liquidity. A user will be stuck with the tokens which they cannot use. That's one. And then with this global layer 1, the infrastructure, once you control that, you control the blood and you control the transfusion machine. That's my view. That's what I think. So, and also I might be reading too much into things, but then when they talk about global liquidity pool, I think they are already virtually signaling that the two main sources of liquidity in the economy, bank loans and commercial paper market, becoming scarce, could very well become true. Yeah, and then also we also see IMF. IMF has decided to join the Project Guardian as part of the what we call as part of the policy inputting, and IMF is involved now. Wow! So you have a lot of the Japan financial services, the UK, the Swiss, hello, and then the banks are from the Americans and transactions Americans. So really, of course, technically people talk about but it's public chain. It is private chain, and then the argument. But then, to me, I feel whether it's public or not, because the problem is the security of it, right? whether public or not, at the end, the controlling nodes are the important one. Who has the final say in this transaction actually? So it could it could be public, and then it could be funneled into something which is a controlled blockchain essentially. Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
2007, what are your thoughts about Singapore exploring the design of global layer 1? Can't hear you.
Yeah. Well, why Singapore? I think why not America? Why not just Japan? Why Singapore? Now, have you thought about that? This is significant because if you go only in American, but the Americans haven't been very unfriendly to cryptocurrency. There's all the sanctions of SEC and doing, so they just trying to wipe out everyone together. But in the background, though, we see the Visa card. Okay, the Visa card payment system is like in the Visa card platform, you can go. There's no barriers between countries anymore. So you basically can go through that transfer, and it's very low cost. It's already been established a month ago, at least been reported, confirmed. So America is not that totally. But Japan is it's Western economy. However, its currency is not that strong. I mean, we know that it's like a second currency to US dollars. So it doesn't really have this financial independency after this called the Guangdao Agreement. Okay, well, that's what happens. Okay, after World War II. So we know that. But Singapore is different. Singapore dollar is pretty independent. It doesn't have that political influence anyone. It's world currency because it is very the center stable. For global chain, for global supply chain. It's the largest, used to be before CCP took over, the largest world trade volume exchange center. So when you have a supply world trade volume transfer, especially oil as well, so altogether in a degree, it is sort of monitors the petrodollar values through Singapore as well because of its port. Okay, it's a large port, and also it's independent from anyone else's. Of course, CCP trying to gain control, but then it is also the place where the second world largest economy, China, all the surplus, all the stolen money are most banked, we know, over the last 3.5 years since the COVID stuff started. So you know how much money is that? I think Jesse shared us some secret. We know how big it is. Well, given that together, Singapore, of course, is the best location to do that because it doesn't threaten anyone. You need to provide, if you want the free money exchanges, transparency, you need to have a country where they're independent from those political East-West, China and the US relationship swings. So you can truly maintain independence, but in the same time, the financial institution by nature is designed for money, for liquidity, for exchanges. That's because there's always a scalping of commissions. Also, it's 0.001. It's huge once you have the world trading volume there of real economy and DeFi. So that's why Singapore is the best place. But it happens now. That is where we test the global layer 1. Global layer 1, remember, it doesn't test it doesn't test any of these 1,000 cryptocurrencies. It only involves, number one, the Bitcoin. Why Bitcoin? Because it occupies more than half the cryptocurrency value. So Bitcoin is 55%, sometimes 60% of the whole cryptocurrency value. And it's number one. It's also the earliest one. Number two, Ethereum. Ethereum being the global platform of trading, and also it is the technology is already matured in so far what is available. Okay, and plus it has tested many other. It's like a platform for many other cryptocurrency to be created and packed and traded for, like Himalaya Exchange, for example. Once the price becomes 100, it will become the second largest cryptocurrency in the world. Okay, I say once, but that will happen, I believe. So these two cryptocurrency tests will occupy almost 65 to 70% of the cryptocurrency value. Therefore, that is not enough. How much is probably 2.2 to 1.5 trillion dollars as its average price over the last year. So that is not enough for basically trading among, you can multiply 10, then you can you can have 15 trillions. So that's not enough for trading currency requirement at this moment in time. Okay, given the test time, plus the real exchange will follow when everyone else can go to the bank to say, hey, I want to transfer my deposit, my sovereign fund into that token. Is that okay? Of course, it is okay because it's all tested, it's all legitimized, and all the financial watchdog, basically, they are part of this whole global banking system, so it's already proved. No one will say no to it. If you do say no, you're behind, you see? You got to follow the leaders. That's why Singapore is the best, because it avoids political sanctions and bias, and also it's very friendly to anyone have money. It's like the old Hong Kong before. Now Hong Kong is CCP controlled information center for all the crypto hub. Although they trying to do it, but then when Singapore started, they become preferred. So Singapore only. Back to you.
Very interesting. Jesse, in one sentence, can you just summarize, or 1-2 sentences, what is this trend telling us? What is this development telling us as far as global economy is concerned or financial system is concerned?
Yeah, so the backdrop is this. The backdrop is back then financial institutions, right? There's all the CFIs and TradFi. They're saying that, yeah, you saw this is all bullocks actually. But now they are way ahead. The public has seen that so-called this testing, which means they've been working behind the scene while telling you simultaneously that those are bullocks, and now they are the one, and they have sort of laid the tracks for you, and then you have to jump on the bandwagon also. So when we talk about organizations, read in financial institutions, these are huge because this is where the money flows are, and when the money flows out, there's velocity, and that's where values are created. And so there's no stopping.
So we are looking at replacing this trend, replacing, or this development replacing the old system, old monetary system.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
777. Where are we heading?
Yes. Yeah. I think what we were heading is if you look at the velocity and then the angle of coverage, okay, that's very, very clear. The trend is with the velocity and coverage, we have unlimited potential to explore to the peripheral. The peripheral might be non-limited. I can't see any limits. You know why? Because if you have to tokenize, although it's with the speed of light, but the application process, they actually brain conversion. Okay, in other words, the consciousness accepting for every individuals in the world. I mean, the population size, it will probably take the next 10 years to have everyone sit there. Okay, that's it. It's like when we need to use iPhone. Okay, so it takes about the 10th generation. Now everyone else is sort of maybe 75%, 85% of the people had one go with the iPhone usage, but there's still 20% they don't have much to use, or they think it's too complicated and so on. But then we know the DeFi, you don't have to do it. You can just go to your traditional bank or some service guy. They just do it for you. So it's all probably very much automation. KYC process, put your passport, your ID there. That's it. Okay. And then write down what's your bank account. And then the transfer might be automatic once you authorize to do so, because it's within the whole control of the traditional financial systems, which is very easy to do. So couple of steps, gone. That's it. So it's going to be very fast, I think. Then everyone got to be into it. If you're not into it, then your old asset become useless. It becomes sinking asset. It's like someone stolen the bank $1 billion. They put some Alibaba Island, but they never be able to use it. Then 10 years later, that banknote is printed with no notes like the Indian government did. So all the old money is gone. I think CCP is going to do that. So if you've been corrupted, you have like a $10 million cash, it's not going to be useful. So that means everyone have to be jump into and then tokenize your old asset, your money, your shares, whatever it is, into the new tokenization to whatever token you want to be, and then go with the flow. You become truly free. You can travel anywhere and use that asset and then do with the real economy. The real economy, you know what? They're going to receive that just by transfer of your smartphone, scan, bingo, then the money went to you. You don't have to worry about the exchange. I'm sure the way the new exchange of currency is going to be also pretty much automatic. I think the fee will be very, very low when you see what the Visa does.
Okay, let's just review what Maltzko has said in the past, because Maltzko is always miles ahead of us. Even when we look back on his old videos, what he said still rings true.
只有洗联储的设计当初最后决定用私链不用公链，私链最重要的用的是美国的摩根的系统，以太坊的这个数字货币的最新技术，虽然是安全保密，但是它是私链，而且是中心化。更重要的事情，它配套的叫喜马拉雅联储储备呢，有个真正的全球唯一的稳定币，叫 HDO， 叫洗美元，绝对100%的真实的美元。说美国人放心，你用我的是洗美元，而且是真正的稳定币，1分钱不动，而且20%的黄金，那黄金在那搁着呢。这一切都符合了法币传统货币的和美国对美元的地位和安全担忧，以及反洗钱所有的条件。而且如果他支持洗美元，他就给了全世界一个信号，说你看我不是对所有的数字货币和这个时代我是为敌的，我不是玩强盗强霸强奸是美元，我还是可以接受一些数字货币的，就像什么，就像洗联储有主人中心化 KYC 跟美国合作，不能作为犯罪工具，那当然就是了。数字货币经过了一系列的挫折之后，它在信用积累和法币的联合下，它将成为未来的绝对全球化唯一认可的货币。
Okay, the most important thing, what Maltzko has said is in the beginning about Himalaya Exchange being built on public chain, on private chain and not public chain. What are your comments, Jesse, as far as this thing is concerned, and how HDO is akin, Himalaya Exchange being centralized is akin to Central Bank of America? What are your thoughts?
Yes, it's a bit of oxymoron initially when he spoke this, and we're like, well, hang on, what are you talking about? Because we know public blockchains are permissionless, right? So it's open, and henceforth the DeFi, the decentralization aspect and the transparency security. But then you have the hacking happening, and henceforth the security grid. So private blockchain, and that's where he's really, really spot on actually. This dude is the real deal because he understands how the financial system works, which is exactly what the Singapore government is trying to do now. Because private blockchain, although they are restrictive and they operate within closed networks, but that's what they want, right? Because it's kind of suitable for internal use within organizations. But then once you have an intra-organization, meaning read them as financial institutions, so then it becomes a bridge. It becomes the interoperability is solved. Actually, once the private blockchain being used within the closed loop system. But is this good for us? Of course, it's good for us. Assuming all things becoming perfectly liquid, that's fantastic, isn't it? Now, can I just add on one thing? Actually, tokenization, although is only one part of this the blockchain, right, technology. But even Bank of America said this in agreement, catching up with Maltzko now, Bank of America, they said, yes, it could transform very well the financial and non-financial infrastructure and financial market. And then they say we are on the verge of an infrastructure evolution. Important now, because this is what Maltzko has been alluding to us all this while. It will reshape how value is transferred, it is settled, how it is settled, and how value can be stored across the industry actually. So these are opportunity costs, and I'm glad that we are way ahead of the curve because then Bank of America report apparently said this also, that they expect 99% of those cryptocurrencies in existence today to disappear over the next 10 years. That isn't that what Moscow has been telling us? Thanks.
2007, you have a lot of you're very, very optimistic of the future of Himalaya Exchange and HDO and all our stable coins, and even HCN. Please share with us your thoughts, please.
Well, first of all, no matter what it is, you need to have a stable coin, okay? So this whole process, no matter, even you need to go to Mars or go to the other universe, but our operation, we're born on the Earth. So every value we created is earthly related value. So you cannot, it's like for any children, they have a mother, so they're born from the wombs of the mother. So you cannot ignore that fact that that's where your origin is. The same, we're talking about the monetary value, it's all humanly value, which means it's only based on this globe called the Earth. In that situation, once at this moment of time, before you tokenize, or at the moment you tokenize what? You tokenize your stable coin, okay? You tokenize between what? Between your traditional value, which is monetary value. But if it's your house worth about $6 million, that's $6 million, okay, of the house, so you can liquidate once the valuation is confirmed. Someone else will want it, so you got that, okay? You got that, then you can tokenize it as what? $600 of US dollars of tokenized stable coin. That's what you tokenize for. Remember, there's a stable coin, okay? But that stable coin also did the KYC, which means you meet the regulatory requirement of anti-money laundering issue as well. And your ID is there. So perfectly, okay, this is perfectly legal, and you get that done. So this is what the Himalaya Exchange, HDO, H-coin is about. Done that, the miles, 3 years ago, that was designed already. Because Himalaya coin, it's about over 2 years, birthday plus. Okay, so we just, the first of 2 years ago. So in that case, that's where the future is, and we're the first one who did that. That's why the other guys, without KYC, there is always activity of money laundering and all that. Okay, so this is the value of it. We're the number one. Okay, we're still using it. No one said the HDO is illegal. It is perfectly legal, and all the money is there. 80% US dollar cash reserved plus 20% bought gold there. Gold at that time is about, I think, cheaper, $17 or something. But now it's like 2,000 or something. So that gold value even increases against US dollars. However, that's number one. So tokenization, legitimization, and so that's no resistance. But the second thing is, why should you have to? Do you have to sell your traditional assets, such like a property or shares, to get that? But I think we need really have another valuation system. With the DeFi, with the DeFi and with the using of quantum computing technology, okay, all the traditional value system used to take months to do, now can do in 2 seconds. So if everyone agree with the valuation process, fine. So all your other assets, you don't have to liquidate. In other words, the value, the more people liquidate the process, then everything might go flat. Let's assume the financial institutions, okay, has already agreed that this valuation process is by AI. So, okay, fine. So what do you have to do? Then you can put that all to the bank, and then bank just gives you 100% liquidity, say $6 million your house worth. You don't have to sell to someone else's, and you just get that. Then bingo. Second, you get 6 million of token into it. So you tokenize, right? Then with the token, you can buy other asset, whether it's DeFi, virtual asset, or real asset. It doesn't matter. So I don't know. I'm sure they must have thought and design all that processes. So that will speed up the velocity, and the economy in terms of value will double up if you look at the traditional value and they decentralize the virtual asset value as well. So there's a lot of happenings at the same time. However, there is a danger they won't accept that valuation system. You have to, in other words, you have to really sell your old asset and then liquidate that into US dollars or other dollars you to fiat, and then go into the decentralization, tokenization. That is the biggest asset for the traditional economy and the values. That is where it could be possible, as Miles Guo mentioned, 房岛银行 houses is going to be for value, and the banks is going to be for as well. Will that be happen? We don't know, but whatever Miles Guo said, he hasn't been wrong.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's review the end of the program time. We are actually on 10 o'clock Beijing time, 1 p.m. Sydney time. And if you are over in the Western Hemisphere, that you are on at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. on Sunday. That's New York time. That's when the program will be on. Now, before we depart from here, we like to share with you G-Fashion, another G-Fashion very short snippets, just to remind ourselves that G-Fashion is one platform that uses HPay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Flower. Thank you, 777 and Jesse. We'll see you next week.
熟悉的字眼，却不知不觉离我越来越遥远。曾经那个意气风发的少年，为了生存只能拼命挣钱。财富是他们画下的大饼，虚幻背后发现全都是陷阱。各种经济暴雷，房价崩得稀碎，抬起头前路一片漆黑。